Welcome to Pump Up Your Pod.
La dee da dee da, la da.
Oh, hi. Welcome back to Pump Up Your Pod with Brianna here from Bambi Media. So today I want to talk about something that I did an IGTV on. I went live the other day, a couple of weeks ago, to talk about a topic that I feel like, well, I put the question out to say to people, what do you think is the most important thing for your podcast growth? I asked the question, and everyone that answered said consistency. Now, I can see why they said consistency, and that is definitely an episode that if I don't already have it on my list of things to talk about, it is something I will definitely be talking about. But it's not the main thing. The main thing is your content. Is your content good? Will people keep coming back because what you're providing is interesting? So the thing is that there's a heap of podcasts out there. There's like 1.7 million podcasts in the world. And what makes one podcast more popular than the other? I mean, there's so many things, so many reasons why a podcast really blows up. But one of the key things is the content that person is providing is really valuable in some way. Maybe it's really funny. Maybe they have amazing guests. Maybe their solo episodes are absolute fire. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why, but the core of it is the content so good that the person wants to reshare it who's listening? Word of mouth spreads from people going, oh man, I've been listening to this podcast and it's really good. Like, that is one of the most common ways that people hear about new podcasts is word of mouth. So your content has to be your key driver, your key factor when you're thinking about starting a podcast, and even when you have a podcast that's been going for a while. If your content isn't that great, or it feels like it's, anyone can deliver that content, then people aren't going to keep coming back to it. Now, one of the ways that you can really look at your content is if you have a look at other shows that are in your niche, in your market, and you look at their episode titles and that sort of thing, you can do the same thing. You can have the same topics on your show, but you have to deliver them in a way that is unique to you. So one of the first steps when you're starting a podcast is for you to establish, what's my unique way of talking about this thing? How am I going to make it interesting? Am I going to make it funny? Am I going to make it just really factual, to the point and quick? How can I bring my personality into it? Am I going to video it? Those kinds of things. So that's the first thing you need to look at. Now, how to develop your content? One of the best ways to do that is to use our podcast production schedule template, which you can get as a freebie, and I'll link it in this video and in this podcast as well so that you can grab it. But actually sit there and map out like 50 or so episodes, content ideas that you have, and then from there go, okay, how can I talk about that thing that's really interesting, different to the way someone else has spoken about that exact same thing? That is a real trick. Like, it's a real art to making their content interesting and unique to yourself. And if you can master that, have really great episode titles and the content's really good, and you're delivering it in a way that's really unique to you, people are going to keep coming back. Now, there's a whole bunch of supporting factors into making your show better and the growth of your show, but I really want you to focus on that thing first. Is my content good? If you've had a show for a while and you feel like it's getting a bit stale maybe, you should really be looking at that content that you've got coming up. Plan ahead a bit more. I know a lot of people, when they have a podcast and it's been going for a while, they kind of start to chase their tail because they've recorded episodes and then like they did batch for a while, but then they don't batch anymore. So they're kind of thinking on their feet a bit more, which means they haven't done as much research into the topic. They're just putting things out with really diving into what can I talk about here, or who can I interview that I think will be really amazing. It's worth the wait if I can get this person on my show. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So take some time, whether you're just starting, you haven't started, or you've been going for a while with your podcast, take the time to actually really look at your content and go, would I listen to this as a show? Would I listen to this, or would I turn it off? And then if you wouldn't listen to it, then you're doing something wrong, and definitely dive deeper into it. That's it from me today. If you have any other questions, if you want to know more, you can go to bambimedia.com. We've got so much fun stuff on that website, and you can definitely also book in for a consult. We've got a few different consult options there, so have a look around at that. And that is it for me today. Have a lovely day.